Hello friends, this is Dr. Amarjeet Kaur, Professor of Accounting and Business Communication at the Department of Management, Gurugram University, Gurugram. It's my privilege that I'm here with you to talk about work areas in finance. So friends, as the title suggests, we are going to discuss in detail what are the possible working options available for youngsters or even the seniors in the industry which is catering to financial needs or which is known as finance industry. We can talk BFSI, but may primarily into finance sector. So in the past we have discussed what financial management is. So financial management basically is all about planning, organizing, controlling and reporting of financial resources. So we use couple of techniques, tools to ensure that we have the finance available when required. We make right valuation of the requirement, even that is important. We receive the finance on time when required, and we disperse it as and when required by different users in the organization. So financial management is a very very important part of any organization, irrespective of the size, age, origin, industry. Everywhere financial management is important. Rather, it is known as backbone of every successful business, right? So as it comprises of a range of processes and techniques to manage financial resources efficiently. That is why we say that financial management is of great importance. Now, to understand the importance of or the work options available, I am just sharing certain data with you. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is known as BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics. So I have taken this data from them. So it says that on an average 9,11,400 jobs would be exclusively in financial occupation, in finance area every year from 22 to 2032. For the next 8 more years, we will see about 10 lakhs jobs every year in the area of finance or in this domain, right? And BLS also suggests that US job market will add around 4.7 million, which is about 50 lakhs roles between 22 to 32. So it's a good number, it's a big number, very promising, and which means it helps us to make in mind that this is the area one can target to work in, provided you have such skills, provided you have interest in that. But it is a promising, it has been a promising area, it is going to be promising area in future as well. So it is a very fastest growing sector in India as well, be it insurance, be it banking sector. So it is increasing every passing day. So the jobs market, the number of job in percentage are higher in finance area than any other area when we talk about jobs. So what are the possible work areas in finance? I am going to discuss them in 5 parts or 5 heads. Number 1, corporate finance. Number 2, investment. Number 3, financial institution. Number 4, international finance. Number 5, fintech. So 5 areas we are going to discuss it. So number 1, corporate finance. So area of work in corporate finance is a treasurer cash financial manager. Number 2 is debt receipts, VC budget manage analyst. Number 3, accountants and auditors, and number 4, chief finance officer. So let me explain these heads in detail now. So number 1, as I said, in the corporate finance we have treasurer, cash or finance manager. So what kind of job is this? So as the name suggests, treasury management or cash management. So depending on the size of the organization, we may have these roles available. For example, in a small or a mid-size company, these treasury management, cash management or finance management could be the title, and the person would be managing both cash and bank transaction. But there could be a very big organization where we may have many people working in this area. Cash management could be a separate person, a cash manager. A treasury management could be, the head of handling cash and bank both. So this is one area of work which is very important and going to be important, always, because there are hundred and thousand of transactions happening every day depending on the size. So this is what is known the first important area in corporate finance, because we are discussing under the head corporate finance, right. So first, this is the first area. The second area is basically when we talk about budget managers or budget analysts. These could be two separate heads, or one person, depend if the size is small, would maybe taking care of both preparation of budget as well as the budget analysis after the budget is being implemented, the variation, the deviations from the budgets. There could be a role of working capital, exclusively working capital, debt and receipts both, as well as the payments as well. So debt management, debt manager, debt analyst, receipts analyst, these are the very basic roles. We have people who are working in payroll accounting, for example. This is payments. Payroll accounting is payrolls. This is also part of corporate finance. Many youngsters after BCom, BBA, even MCom, they get this role as payroll accountant, debt accountants, people who just do entries for these areas, for all the debts, because we need to consolidate the sales which are on credit. They are the people who are our debtors, and then also the payments, the creditors, from wherever we are buying services or goods on credit, we need to have the record of that. So debt managers, receipt managers, working capital managers, budget managers, budget analysts, these are the possible areas of work. The title or the given to you could be something fancy, something could be different, some executive words may be used, something like that could be possible, but we are talking about the primarily the areas which are possible in corporate finance as a broader umbrella, right. So the cash finance manager, which this the first thing we discuss, and the second thing we discuss is the budget manager, analyst or debt payment managers. The third area is accountants and auditors. Accountants primarily they are working to help the chief finance officer generate financial statements. They are primarily into entry of everyday's payments and receipts and expenditures. So they may have groups or they may have created many ledgers, right. They may have grouped certain expenses into ledgers, and they keep ledger records, journal entries and ledger records, finally which leads to preparation of your financial statement. So accountant is the most commonly used designation in any size of organization. You will find an accountant in a organization where there are 8 to 10 people, or where there are 8 lakhs to 10 lakhs people, right. Of course, if the size is 8 to 10 lakhs, means that number of transaction or the size of the business is very high, huge. So the number of accountants could be more than one. So accountant is something which has been there and is going to be there forever. Accountant maybe the skills required for accountant they are changing. There were times when the accountants were posting everything on the journal book, ledger book by hand, and they were working throughout. So we have seen people bowing their face on the ledger book and working, matching transactions and preparing accounts. The literal way it has been taught in colleges even today, right. But nowadays an accountant is required to know Tally or other softwares, and being able to have a good access on Excel sheets to create or summarize various transactions of the day. So nowadays accountants are supposed to be having good command on computer operations, right. Auditors are also there. So we do have the requirement to have internal auditors. So if the size is small, there is only one auditor, but the companies, there are requirement by the company's laws to have internal audit team. So basis on the size of the or the type of the organization, in corporate finance, auditors are another options to work in. But of course, and beginner will not get this job unless he has done the auditing, certification, etc. And then the lastly we have in this area chief finance officer and the controller. That's very senior position, of course, we understand, not for the beginners, for seniors. For beginners it is accountants, data entry, payroll accountant, these are the jobs. But chief finance officer is a very responsible position in the organization. In fact, this is the position in any organization, maybe even higher than a CEO when it comes to the practical part. Theoretically CEO is the highest position, but reality is this: CFO is, or the controller is, the most highly paid job and most important person of the organization, because he is the one who is leading all the roles which we discussed so far, be it accountants or internal auditors, be it managers or analysts or finance guy or finance manager, treasury part, everything comes under him. He would be the one who will be looking after, all aspects of finance procurement, finance receipts, finance disbursement, everything. And of course, ensuring compliance to budget and reporting too, because at the end of the day, even they have to report. So, including the reporting part, he has to take care of this. These are the possible work areas in corporate finance. Now, I am going to discuss the work areas which are possible in investment sector. So, there are 4 of them. Number 1, stockbroker. Number 2, portfolio manager and investment banker. Number 3, security analyst. Number 4, financial advisor. So, number 1, stockbroker. So we all have heard this word, for sure. And there are so many stockbrokers, or we call them as just the brokers, who work in, in freelance format, or they are associated with companies as well. So these are brokers who help investors invest in the share market, in debt market, in mutual funds, etc., basis on the brokerage. There are companies also where an individual can work and can work as a broker, right? So the the brokerage company, you can go and work with that kind of company, right? So they are exclusively working on stocks or shares, sale and purchase. And then the second is the portfolio manager or the investment bankers. This is very tempting job, and by the way, investment bankers are highly paid in US market. They are really paid very well. If you refer to any data by the Wall Street Journal or anything, you will see this, they are the highest paid people, investment bankers in investment area, right? So portfolio manager is the position where a person responsible for this position will ensure that the funds which are invested or which are collected from various retail investors, they are invested in the right kind of securities, and this is the manager or the person who decides the composition in the portfolio. For example, how much percentage of the amount received from retailers or retail investor will go into shares, and then within the share, then which share from which industry or the sector, how much would go into debt, how much will be in hybrid investment, like that. So they maintain portfolio of the company or of the insurance company or mutual fund. So they are the basically bankers or investment bankers or portfolio managers. Then we have the people who are known as security analysts. So the ones who are having very good command on the stock market, very good into fundamental analysis, technical analysis, cultural analysis, all kind of, they have a very good sense of on the movement of market, on the movement of securities, So they are known as analysts. They may work as independent, as a freelance guy. They may work as a person into in some investment company or investment bank, etc., or a mutual fund, right? So they are known as security analysts. They are analyzing individual securities and then suggesting or supporting the portfolio manager to help, they are supporting to decide that what should be the composition of various sectors or the various type of securities in the total portfolio. So because they are analyzing and giving their feedback, portfolio manager independently cannot be successful unless he has a very good team of security analysts, right? So that's why, even so, security analyst could be a beginner's job as well. If somebody is very good in analysis, very good in is very analytical in mind, and is creative in thinking, can be a good security analyst. Of course, having sense of finance, having good hold of on softwares. There are so many softwares which are used nowadays, and in not only that, AI and ML is there. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is becoming part of security analysis nowadays. The models are there which help them analyze securities, and certainly this information goes to the portfolio manager, and he decides the composition of securities in his or her portfolio. Then lastly, under the investment sector, we have financial advisors. So these are the people who do not just deal with stock, they do deal with insurance policies, they deal with mutual funds, they deal with bank options, or post office for in India, for example. So various kind of investment, all kind of investments are put into their kitty, and they advise people. So generally, we will see there are personal advisors, there are corporate advisors. So it's I know one of my family member is advising to the world's 3-4 top companies, not in India, world's 3-4 high company when it comes to valuation or market capitalization, and he advises them, including the cryptocurrency. He is actually advising primarily into crypto investment in US. So this is he is also known as financial advisor, but he is advising into crypto and may advise for some other security, right? But the job of this particular person or individual is to advise individuals as well as corporates or any kind of any type of organization. So this is the second head. Coming to the third area, which is known as financial institutions. So what are the possible work areas in financial institutions? We all know banks, insurance companies, actuaries, right? Broker firms, NBFI, non-banking financial institutions. For example, in India we have Muthoot, which is NBFI, non-banking financial institution, right? So you have many work options. You can work in the banks, into operations within the bank. You may be sitting at the cash counter, or you may be sitting at the investments counter. You may be working in any other part of the banking operation, be it check issue or advising or customer management. But here we are talking the work areas from the perspective of financial institution. We are not talking about the corporates here. Of course, corporates are the possible options, or rather maximum work choices are available there only. So insurance firms, they also need people with finance background, especially they need actuaries, they need actuarians who will help them evaluate the mortality rate, calculation of mortality, calculation of term and condition of the insurance policy, help them develop the help them develop the insurance policy itself. So all these kind of roles are required in an insurance company. Then broker firms are certainly there. These brokerage firms are the firms which are helping people to invest by accepting brokerage from the prospective investors. And lastly, as I said, non-banking financial institutions, we have so many of them nowadays. there are the institutions which are into lending, but they are not into daily banking operation. They do not deposit money. They are into lending only. There are so many institutions of national importance in India, like SIDB and all. So they are the one who are doing project financing. They are the one who are giving loans to the corporates for projects. They are funding, they are buying businesses which are maybe failing or are sick units. So these there are so many type of non-banking financial institutions as well. Now coming to the fourth area is that is international finance. So what are the possible work areas in international finance? So I am discussing under four heads. Number one, trade finance officer. Number two is letter of credit manager. Number three is risk manager. Number four is compliance manager. So the trade finance officer is the one who looks into various aspects of trade finance, right? Be it UCPs 500 or 600, be it compliance to international regulations. So total trade finance, which of course includes LC as well, letter of credit as well. So this is the overall the manager who is looking after the all possible venues under trade finance, including letter of credit. There could be a separate head, a person who is heading only the letter of credit, depending upon what kind of business. If you are into lot of import export, or even the local bills are generated, bill of landing is generated below. So those documentation part is there. Then this manager could be known as document management guy, or it could be known as only exclusively letter of credit manager, any such position. So don't go by this title, because my purpose is not to discuss titles. Companies keep on using very fancy words to define titles, but purpose is to help you understand the possible work areas, right? So if you have a good training or good learning, because there are so many types of letter of credits, LCs, right? Every LC has own unique composition, possible term, condition, maturity conditions, etc., etc. If you have a great hold on that, you can be a good source for that particular job, right? The third is risk managers, because in international finance the risk goes higher. There's always a financial risk, there's always a business risk for any kind of business, small to big. That's what I always tell, right? But especially if a company is dealing with the international clients, is into import and export, there's a requirement for risk manager. He is the one who would be assessing the risk associated with currency change in currency value, for example, right? Maybe valuing the political risk, maybe valuing the economic risks. So all kind of risks are assessed by this person, and especially the financial risks of not being able to pay on time or receive on time, and especially the currency exchange rate, depending upon which country you are dealing with, be it dollars or be it euro, depending upon which company or which country you deal with. So this risk manager has to do the assessment of risk by using various means and tools. The last part here in this is the compliance manager, because when you are working into international finance, the compliance becomes very tedious. Every country has its own demand, and every country has its own regulation, depending upon how many countries your business is dealing in, right? Maybe 10 countries, maybe 20 countries, or 100 countries. It all depends on the size of the business, right? The compliance part becomes even more tedious if we are dealing with more than 1, 2, 3 countries, because every country has its own laws of import, laws of export, etc., etc. So this guy has a very important role, and number of people employed as compliance manager in company will vary depending upon the size or the percentage of import export in the total business, right? So this is known as compliance manager. Now I will discuss the last part, which is work areas in fintech, which is a new thing. You may not find this in books even. So the areas of work in fintech are: number 1, financial software developer; number 2, data scientist; number 3, quantitative analyst; number 4, cyber security specialist. So let me discuss these areas in detail now. So financial software developer. The software developer, the one who is into financial software developer, because as I said, for reporting purpose, for risk analysis, we have to develop softwares, and softwares are to be updated as per the change in time, as per the changes requirement, right? So you may not find many jobs in one organization. For example, there could be many accountants, there could be many people working in the debt management if the company is selling on credit, but you may not find many people as financial software developer in banks. You may not find many of them in a corporate, but you may find many of them in insurance company. You may find many of them in some other type of, even bank would have a reasonable number, right? But not a one business, not a corporate. So this is the area which is known as financial software developer. The data scientists are doing almost very close. It's a very hard difference between the two. Data scientists are the people who are analyzing data, who are keeping data under various heads, but using softwares, right? They are not doing it manually. So they are data scientists. The third is quantitative analysts, the people who are analyzing, who are getting some. So data scientists, and again the analyst is a very close term. So people who are actually analyzing numbers and feeding or generating report to management for decision making. So in management accounting, we talk about decision making, relevant decision, relevant cost, etc., etc. So these are the people who will segregate cost into relevant and irrelevant, for example, right? So this is very interesting, very stimulating job, I would say. So this is an interesting and stimulating job because you are trying to draw some inference from the data. The last is security, specialist or cyber security specialist, especially the companies which are mutual fund, which are insurance company, banks. They have to protect data of investors, and they need cyber security specialists. So this is also very interesting. For these jobs, you need a different set of skills, which we will discuss soon, that what are the skill sets required for various jobs. So I hope you could get a fair idea of possible work option in finance area. With this, I would like to wind up, friends. Thank you very much.